Hello, how are you today? Welcome to Miss Long's first grade class. And today we will be going over some geometry. So welcome to my class, and I am looking forward to getting to know each and every one of you. And just brace yourself as we take on a new adventure with some math today. It's not as hard as you may think it is. So bear with me, and I promise we will all leave out of here knowing something new today. So we're going to start out talking about geometry. We all know that geometry has a lot to do with shapes. And when I say shapes, it's not just your normal shapes that you learn in preschool, although we do use those and we take them with us throughout our years in school and on into our life. But today we will talk about several different shapes, from our shapes to the vertices to the sides and all of the attributes of shapes. Growing up, I learned about shapes, maybe I'll say in preschool and preschool and kindergarten. But it wasn't until I got to first grade when I learned about there was much more to shapes than just, coloring shapes or, playing with the little attribute blocks. So today I'm going to teach you something that I was very excited to learn about when I was your age. So first, I would like to talk about the dimensions. Who have ever heard of 2 dimensions and 3 dimensions? So there are 2-dimensional shapes, which is the shapes that we actually know, the shapes that we are familiar with. For instance, triangle, rectangle, circle, square, and shapes like that. Those are shapes that we're familiar with. When someone asks us to give me a shape or name a shape, those are the shapes that we're quick to yell out. Those are the shapes that we know more about. So those are the shapes that we are quick to just say. But let's talk about those shapes. Okay, for instance, let's talk about the vertices of a shape. And when I say vertices, who can tell me what a vertex is or a vertex? Okay, so let me start by introducing you to that. A vertex or a vertex is a point where 2 lines meet to form a corner. So for instance, on a triangle, where would be the vertices or the vertex? We would have 3 to be exact, because they are where the line segments connect to make a corner. So let's count how many corners we have on a triangle. 1, 2, 3. A triangle has 3 vertices. Okay. Line segments. Do you know what a line segment is? A line segment would be a line that has 2 points. So throughout the years, and no time soon would you be learning this, but in middle school, high school, maybe even towards the end of your elementary career, you would begin to see line segments with points, such as, and you would see letters that are located underneath them, which is usually used in algebra for like plotting, I would say. So I'm gonna pull this up some more so that you guys can see. I would like for you to get a really good view. But a line segment is a line that has points on each side of it. Now we are also going to work on some more shapes on finding out how many vertices it has. So with a circle, how many sides does a circle have? A circle has zero sides. So therefore, a circle has no vertices at all, because there's not a corner where there's not line segments that connects to form a corner. So therefore, a circle has no sides and no vertices. Unlike the triangle, a triangle has 3 sides and also 3 vertices. Let's go over a square. How many sides would a square have? Let's count together. 1, 2, 3, 4. A square would have 4 vertices. Okay, now let's speak about how these shapes are 2-dimensional shapes, meaning they are flat. And when I say that they are flat, that means that they are just like, if I was to get an actual square, let's say out of a classroom manipulatives, I could lay that flat. Whenever you can't lay it flat in that it has depth to it, it has, let's just say it's fat, then that is a 3-dimensional shape. The difference between 2-dimensional and 3-dimensional shapes would be that the 2-dimensional shapes are flat. They can lay flat on the surface, when a 3-dimensional shape is fat. It has more depth to it. So in other words, it has more, I would say it has all 3 dimensions: height, width, and length. So we're going to take a look here. A 3-dimensional shape has 3 dimensions: length, width, and height. When a 2-dimensional shape has it's a flat shape, and it only has length and width, no depth. So we're gonna go over a few 3-dimensional shapes. Can anyone give me an example of a 3-dimensional shape? Okay. So some of the 3-dimensional shapes would be a cube, pyramid, a sphere, there are more. There are much more. Cone, sphere, cylinder, cube, rectangular, prism. And drawing a rectangle and a rectangle prism is so much different. It's harder to draw. I would say a sphere and a circle are technically, I've always figured they were the same thing, but a sphere is more, let's just say, fatter. Okay, so when you think of a sphere, think of a golf ball or a tennis ball or something like that. Something with depth. It's round. You can, grab. Versus this circle here, it's flat. It's flat. So if we were to just draw a circle on our paper, we would see, this is exactly how a circle looks. But when you go into 3D shapes, even when you're drawing it, it has more depth to it. Not just when you're looking at the image, or not when you're looking at a toy or a shape that's in manipulatives, a 3D shape, but even when you draw a 3D dimensional shape, it's bigger on paper as well. So we're gonna, for instance, I'm gonna show you one. Okay, you see how that triangle there is. Let's add that to it. This was a trial and error, but I truly appreciate you guys for being very patient with me. Now, Miss Long is going to pull up a few 3D shapes.
Mommy,
Thank you. Okay, as you can see here, that is a rectangle prism. Here is a sphere, a cone, a cube, pyramid, and a cylinder. Those are 3D shapes. Those are 3D shapes. And as you can see, yes, it has more depth. When you're looking at the cylinder, you can see how thick it is. It has thickness to it. It's not flat. So oftentimes whenever you are uncertain as to the difference between a 2-dimensional shape and a 3-dimensional shape, always think of this. And it's easy and it works for me, and maybe it'll work for you. With the 2-dimensional shape, it's flat. But when there's more and there's 3-dimensional shape, it's fat. So we're going to go 2 flat, 3 fat. There we go. So if you would think of that, most of the time that will help. I often have to think of things that will help me with my memory and to memorize things. But oftentimes it works for me, and it will work for you also. So today our lesson was learning the difference between 2D and 3D shapes, and also learning what a vertices is and learning what a line segment is. In geometry, it's all about shapes. It's all about shapes and measurements. So today we learned the basics, the fundamentals of geometry, which is learning our shapes. If we do not know our shapes and we do not know, the proper terms when dealing with our shapes, then it will be hard to succeed further down the line once we get to learning more geometry, because it can get complicated. But I'm pretty sure that there's nothing that my students cannot learn, and it's nothing that they cannot master. So Miss Long is here to help you. We're going to learn this so that when you go on to 2nd grade, you will have this mastered and you will be ready to take on new learning, new skills, new materials, and a whole new education. So I am looking forward to us learning more about our vertices, our line segments, our 2-dimensionals, our 3-dimensionals, just more about geometry, the shapes, the measurements, and also with algebra as well. So that sums up today's lesson. I hope you guys took a lot home with you. And we're going to continue. We're going to watch a few videos on 2-dimensional shapes, 3-dimensional shapes. We're also going to go through the classroom and we're going to find things that have line segments. And we're also going to go through the classroom and we're going to find shapes that have depth to it. things that are three-dimensional. So I think education is better when we can be hands-on, things in the classroom that we use often. Let's relate it to our lesson. So thank you guys today, and I'm going to continue with my lesson. But thank you guys for stopping by and joining Miss T's first grade class. And I go by Miss T or Miss Long. Either one works for me. So thank you guys for stopping by, and I hope to see you guys soon. Have a great day.